Hi guys, I'm Mario Frotto and this is Making the Case. Joe Biden's finally had to answer for allegations that he sexually assaulted Tara Reade. Joe was grilled pretty bad recently on MSNBC by Morning Joe's wife there, Mika Brzezinski. She really grilled him pretty hard. She was asking him the tough questions, and credit to her for doing that. Now, we have to remember that Joe Biden is a proven liar, and I also learned that he has really bad hair plugs. Take a look at this picture of him. He looks like some sort of Batman villain there. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of that interview, and then we can talk about it after.
Mr. Vice President, thank you for coming on the show this morning. We have a lot we want to ask you this morning. Okay. Joe and Willie, but at the start, it's just going to be you and me. So the former Senate aide accuses you of sexual assault. And please, to our viewers, please excuse the graphic nature of this, but I want to make sure that there is no question as to what we're talking about. She says in 1993, Mr. Vice President, that you pinned her against the wall and reached under her clothing and penetrated her with your fingers. Would you please go on the record with the American people? Did you sexually assault Tara Reade?
No, it is not true. I'm saying unequivocally, it never happened. And it didn't. It never happened. I don't remember any type of complaint she may have made. It was 27 years ago. No, I have not reached out to her. It was 27 years ago. This never happened. And when she first made the claim, we made it clear that it never happened. And that's as simple as that.
Are you confident there is nothing?
I'm confident there's nothing. No one ever brought it to the attention of me 27 years ago. This is any assertion at all. No one that I'm aware of in my campaign at, my Senate office at the time is aware of any such request and or any such complaint. And so I'm not worried about it at all.
To use your words, should we not start off with the presumption that the essence of what she's talking about is real? She says you sexually assaulted her.
Look, from the very beginning, I've said believing women means taking the woman's claim seriously when she steps forward and then vet it, look into it. That's true in this case as well. Women have a right to be heard, and the press should rigorously investigate claims they make. There is no NDA signed, and no one's ever signed. I've never asked anybody to sign an NDA. There are no NDAs, period, in my case.
If she believes and she alleges that the complaints may be hidden there,
it would not be at the University of Delaware. My archives do not contain personal files. My archives contain documents, and when I say personnel files. They don't contain any personnel files. I don't know why after 27 years all of a sudden this gets raised. I don't understand it. No.
Why?
No, what I said, it has to be.
Why is it real for Dr. Ford but not for Tara Reade?
I fought my entire life to change the whole notion of the law and the culture around sexual assault. At the end of the day, it has to be looked at. These claims are not true. There's no cooperation. I mean, they're not true.
Mr. Vice President,
I don't know what else I can say to you.
Well, I'm going to try and ask many different ways. Are women to be believed unless it pertains to you?
Look, women are to be believed given the benefit of the doubt. The presumption would be she's telling the truth unless it's proved she wasn't telling the truth. Or not proved, unless it's clear from the facts surrounding it, it's not the truth.
As we
look, this is I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Please. No, that's all.
As we await for the record.
I am absolutely positive that no one that I'm aware of ever has been made aware of any complaint, a formal complaint made by, or a complaint by Tara Reade against me at the time this allegedly happened 27 years ago, or until I announced for I guess it was in April or May of this year. I know of no one who's aware that any complaint was made.
I've got two more
Nor
questions.
has
The first.
Okay, please.
Go ahead. So,
I am absolutely certain.
Why not approve a search of her name in those records?
Approve a search of her name?
Yes, and reveal anything that might be related to Tara Reade in the University of Delaware records.
There is nothing. They wouldn't. They're not there. And if it's, I don't understand the point you're trying to make.
Why not do the same in the University of Delaware records, which have raised questions because they were supposed to be revealed to the public and then they were sealed for a longer period of time? Why not do it for both sets of records? I'm just talking about her name, not anybody else in those records. A search for that. Nothing classified with the president or anybody else. I'm just asking, why not do a search for Tara Reade's name in the University of Delaware records?
Look, I mean, who does that search?
The University of Delaware?
Well, look, Mika, she said she filed a report.
If you could speak directly to Tara Reade about her claims or anything, what would you say?
This never, ever happened. I don't know what is motivating her. I don't know what's behind any of it. But it's irrelevant. It never happened. It never happened. Period. I'm not going to start questioning her motive. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to go after Tara Reade for saying these things. It's simple. What are the facts? Do any of the things she said, do they add up? It never happened.
Mr. Vice President.
Now that just didn't look good for Joe there. It was really tough to watch. He kept going back to mentioning that it was 27 years ago. Now that didn't seem to matter to Joe and the Democrats when it was Brett Kavanaugh and it was almost 40 years ago. Nobody really cared about that. Then Joe was also saying that there's already been investigations done, and he says they were done by newspapers. And that's really strange because with Brett Kavanaugh, they were saying if Kavanaugh himself doesn't call for an investigation by the FBI, then he's guilty. Now, in this case, Joe claims the newspapers were good enough. So I really don't think he's to be believed. And it's funny that he actually just did something with Hillary Clinton. They did some joint show together. I think it was one of his podcast or video cast things, whatever that he does. And Hillary seemed awfully excited there. I'm thinking that her plans are to push Joe out of the way and that maybe she can step in. He's really not looking good right now. And who knows, the Democrats could even be behind this because it doesn't seem like they're content with Biden anymore. So we might really be looking at a new nominee soon. I don't think Joe can hold up, but we really got to wait and see what happens, I guess. Another huge story this week was an update in the case of General Michael Flynn. Now, if you guys recall, General Flynn pled guilty to a charge of making false statements to the FBI during the Mueller probe back in 2017. Now, Flynn had been trying to withdraw his guilty plea, and new evidence has come to light. The evidence, namely, is a note that was withheld from the defense, and that's considered Brady material, which is material that could be helpful to the defense that needs to be turned over. That never happened in this case. Now, the note said, "What's our goal? Truth, admission, or to get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired?" Now, the thing that really jumps out to me about this whole thing is that they said to get him fired could be a goal. Now, that's not a legitimate goal. To me, that reeks of entrapment. But why would they want him to get fired? That's a real question that we got to ask ourselves. And I think it's because General Flynn was the most polished person in Donald Trump's administration at the time. He was the former director of Defense Intelligence Agency. So he was a guy that could help protect him from the deep state. And we all know what was going on behind the scenes investigating the Trump campaign and then the Trump administration with the Mueller probe. General Flynn was a guy who could have played a major role in helping protect Donald Trump. Comey actually bragged about how the investigation was handled, that because it was Trump's administration and they were new, that he could just send some guys in casually and let Flynn think that this wasn't something he needed a lawyer for, which he did. And they also threatened him by saying that they could indict his son if he didn't cooperate or plead guilty in this case. So this whole thing was really disgusting the way it was handled. James Comey belongs in jail as far as I'm concerned, and General Flynn deserves to be pardoned or at least allowed to withdraw that guilty plea. I would like to see him back in Donald Trump's administration so he could get some revenge here, because these guys totally mishandled this situation. Guys, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, like my page on Facebook, and stay tuned for more. Thanks, guys.